Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Don Pattalock joins us. He's president and CEO of Vidler Water. Here for the whole show on all new Nevada Newsmakers.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome to the program for the first time Don Pattalock. He is president and CEO of Vidler Water. It has been a long time since we've had somebody from Vidler Water on the program, so we are pleased to have you here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
So maybe a stupid question, but here in Nevada, the driest state in the nation, do we have enough water?
I think it really depends on where we're at. Do I think there's enough water? Absolutely. Is it in the right places? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it is very region dependent.
So, for example, in talking to one of the county commissioners up in Humboldt County about Thacker Pass and the water that they need, he was very much against interbasin water transfers. How does that all play out? Because you're absolutely right. We have water in all different kinds of places in Nevada and access to water from other places. But where are we with the state and being able to move water from basin to basin?
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, and it's not unique. You know, water is a very emotional resource. As far as interbasin transfers go, we've been doing this since Roman times. The Roman viaducts, you know, the water we drink here in the Truckee Meadows comes from Lake Tahoe. That's an interbasin transfer. So interbasin transfers have been going on forever, and we continue to do it. You end up with a conundrum. You're either going to move the people to the water to the people. And throughout history, we've always tended to move the water to the people, or to where the demand is, in the case of Thacker Pass. The state, through our statutory water law and regime, we have interbasin transfer statutes that control, you know, the originating basin, the receiving basin, and there's a series of requirements you have to meet to be able to move water from one basin to another. So it's been going on forever. I understand the emotional response to it. However, you know, when you look at the economic demands, the population demands on how we need to use those resources, we have the tools to get it where it needs to be.
Obviously, one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue in the state water-wise, is the Colorado River. And the compact, if you want to call it that at this point, between the upper basin states and the lower basin states. Last week, John Ensminger of the Southern Nevada Water Authority came out with a Nevada plan because there's been a dispute with all the other states. California jumped on board and said yes. Where do you think this is heading?
That's a really good question. Now, we've been following pretty
That's what I try to come up with.
Yeah.
I have no answers, but I have questions.
We've been following very closely. Some of the states are really dug in. Colorado's dug in, Arizona's dug in, California seems dug in.
But they seem to be willing to work with Southern Nevada Water Authority, especially when we fund projects in Southern California.
Exactly, and I'll give Southern Nevada Water Authority in the position they've argued on behalf of Nevada. I'm fairly impressed with how they've approached it. We're a relatively small player on the river, but we've had some meaningful impact. And yeah, I agree that cutting the deal with San Diego and California to be able to move some water back upriver through the desal plants, I think is important. I just came back from a conference in Southern California, water industry focused, and the keynote speech was from Pat Mulroy and talking about the river and the settlement. And so much effort is being put into desalination, which is an obvious answer, but it's only a part of the answer. I think we have a scale problem. If you believe the numbers, we are somewhere between 2 and 4 million acre feet short on the river. And when we talk about desal, we're talking about millions of gallons. So just the disparity in units is huge. So it's going to take desal, but it's going to take something else. And somewhere along the way, we're going to have to look at agriculture. This is important agriculture. This is all the winter vegetables we eat from the Yuma area in Arizona, Imperial Irrigation District. So it's very important agriculture. And I just believe if we all get together, we can figure out some efficiencies on the irrigation strategies to maintain the irrigation, to maintain the economic unit of those farms, as well as free up some water that can then go back and meet the demands we have on our cities and communities.
Has the California Coastal Commission lightened up at all on the regulations? Because Pat Mulroy has been on this program many, many times over the last 20 years. And in the past, she talked about that you'd have to put the desal plants off the coast of Mexico because the California Coastal Commission wouldn't go for it in California. Has that changed in the last few years?
I don't know. I'm not necessarily the one to speak to California Coastal Commission. It doesn't feel that way sitting out here in the chair, and the information I'm receiving regularly. I think it has to somewhere along the way if it takes federal involvement to make that happen. But I know there's been lots of talk about desal plants coming out of Mexico and then pulling the water back up either to Imperial Valley or into central Arizona.
Okay, so how do you feel about the federal government being involved in the Colorado River? Because does that say something to what could happen to water issues in the state of Nevada if the federal government is jumping into the Colorado River?
I think there's
metaphorically.
Metaphorically. I think there's two different issues that you just brought up. First off, the federal government is the water master on the Colorado River. They're going to be a player in this. They've just come out with their draft environmental impact statement where they laid out some of their strategies to deal with the impasse from the states. Will that ever translate into the federal government coming into Nevada and getting involved in our groundwater or the Humboldt River or the Truckee River? I don't think so. They're two separate discussions. But if you're asking me if the federal government's involved in the Colorado River, 100%.
But does that concern you that they could impose their will? Because it seems to scare the heck out of the states.
It hasn't scared them enough to cut a deal.
But in deal making, doesn't the deal come down to the last minute when you're going through the courtroom door?
Sometimes, unfortunately, I would like to think everybody could get together. There's many competing interests that we're seeing come to a head all throughout the West, where the Western water doctrine, the law of the river, prior appropriation doctrine is coming head on into a collision with a hierarchy of use. we went through this years ago when Las Vegas Valley Water District filed the water applications up through Nye, Lincoln, and White Pine. And for better, for worse, I think Pat Mulroy kind of put a very fine point on it. She was sitting in Lincoln County at one point in time and looked at them and said, I have more people employed in one hotel casino than you have in your entire county. Are you telling me I can't have the water? And as distasteful as that feels to the rural communities, there's a validity to that point. And somewhere along the way, it will be better if we came together and settled these issues rather than taking apart Western water law to try and settle these issues.
Harry Reid on this program notably said that the water would be much better used in that area, flushing the toilets on the Las Vegas Strip than growing alfalfa.
There is a dichotomy of use there. We've been partners, my company's been partners with Lincoln County and their water resource development since 1998. So we understand the passion, those rural communities, what the agriculture community means to our rural part of the state. And it's not just as easy as saying, we're not going to grow alfalfa and we're going to send all the water to Las Vegas. So there are competing issues there. And honestly, there are answers that can make it all work together.
For example?
For example, I believe there are water resources available, but you don't have to dry up the farms to start with, right? I think there's, the food product, the food supply, the food security that's really important to us. And we can't just disregard those arguments as we look at these broader solutions. There are areas we can go, some of these rural regional aquifers that are untapped, potentially flowing through the state and either exiting the state or exiting the Pacific Ocean that can be tapped. I think there's been lots of discussion about some changes to Nevada water statute to help us deal with these regional aquifer systems, because right now the state engineers need some additional tools to manage those. But I do think there are ways to do it without harming our rural communities.
And you don't need to comment on this, but I've said on this program many times, the Southern Nevada Water Authority still owns all those ranches and the water rights up in eastern Nevada. One of the things that concerns me, and I'm sure concerns a lot of people, is that Utah is trying to tap into that water in eastern Nevada to bring it over for growth over there in Cedar City. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the interstate discussions on groundwater are interesting. Clearly, Utah got involved in Southern Nevada Water Authority's plan coming out of White Pine County. They were players because some of White Pine County will drain into Utah, and just like you're seeing down around Cedar City in that project there, you have water that may originate in Nevada that ends up in Utah. We have issues on the other side of the state where there's water that originates in Nevada and ends up in California and San Bernardino County. They're complicated issues. The way it works, right now, if you can capture it in your state before it gets to the other state, you can utilize it because the laws don't transcend the state boundaries. However, there is a cooperative process that needs to happen. I think it will get to a point where Utah and Nevada sit down and we decide how we're going to manage these basins that cross the lines.
Are there any of those discussions going on now, to your knowledge?
Not that I'm aware of, but like I said, I'm not necessarily in those conversations.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with much more with Don Pattalock. He's the president and CEO of Vidler Water after this timeout.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing. driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
The winning is about to hit a whole nother level during the $100,000 March Mayhem giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week and a top prize of $15,000 in cash during the grand finale drawing. Don't miss the mayhem. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Don Pattalock. He's the president and CEO of Vidler Water, one of the largest water entities in the state of Nevada and across the country. So you brought up Coyote Springs. We actually did a show in Coyote Springs. It seemed like 1,000 years ago, but about 20 years ago. The golf course is there. There was supposed to be a huge housing project there. Vidler Water has been involved in that. Do you see that town ever coming to fruition?
It's a pretty thorny issue, Sam.
It's a very thorny issue.
It's a big, and I would probably defer from diving in this because there's pending litigation down there everywhere. There's some tough challenges that need to be solved on the water side. Like I say, as we talked earlier, this clash between prior appropriation doctrine and hierarchy of uses, who's going to win? It's tough. And I think going back to some of your comments on will the states ever get together and talk, I think Coyote Springs is a prime example where you have the smartest minds in water in the state of Nevada at the table, and it would be very beneficial instead of fighting if we all just sat down and figure out how to handle this so it can be a win for everybody, that we're not harming the decreed surface rights and we're allowing economic development to proceed in both Clark and Lincoln counties. So I think there's some opportunities at play here, and unfortunately when everybody's fighting each other and there's lawsuits everywhere and the Supreme Court's involved, and it becomes very difficult to sit down and actually solve these problems, which I believe we have the tools to solve.
One of the things that has struck me about water over the years, and being a young man raised in London, England, where water just comes out of the tap and you don't think about it, water in Nevada especially, but I guess everywhere, is not a short-term game. It's a 30-plus year game. I remember doing programs when we first started our radio show back in the 1990s, talking about Honey Lake Valley and Franklin Jeans. Was that 30 years before that water deal was able to be struck and that water moved to be able to bring growth to the North Valleys, which was desperately needed for the expansion of population?
Yeah, I think going back to the origination of that project that we call the Fish Springs Ranch project started in the early 90s.
Right. We were right there.
Yeah, Washoe County was involved, and
Senator Reed was definitely involved.
Senator Reed was involved, Bruce Babbitt. There's some great stories to be told around the project. And our company got involved in 2000, where we came in and we partnered. That's when Vidler and the owners of the Fish Springs Ranch partnered, and we formed the Fish Springs Ranch. And then from there, we picked it up with our own private capital, and we designed, built, and dedicated that project over the next 8 years. So it took us 8 years to go through the environmental permitting process, go through all the county special use permits, and then actually build, construct, and dedicate it. And Tumwa now owns it and operates it for our region. You know, it's just, if you go back and you look, our company has done a couple dozen projects over the last 30 years. And the average time to deliver a sustainable water project is about 7 years.
It's a long time. Yeah. And in that particular project, obviously before Vidler was on board, Senator Reid got involved in that one, demanded an EIS, and that basically shut down that project for a very long time.
It did. And, you know, timing is critical when you pull up these projects. You know, you have to have that demand. And when you were at the original project, they were trying to do it with county funds, and the county was sponsoring it. And the timing was not necessarily right. And then coming in 2000, when we picked it up, it looked like there was an opportunity there, and we were pretty bullish on it from our side. And then, you know, the economy changes, and you come into the mid-2000s all the way through 2008, when everything was just booming, you know, and all of a sudden you couldn't get the water here fast enough. So timing and public demand and public need are very much drivers on whether projects are successful or not.
The North Valleys, where that water ended up, is booming at this point in time, and more projects on the board. Is there enough water from your project, or do you need to import more water to make that sustainable?
I do believe there's enough water. You know, we've looked, you know, the land pattern, the land ownership hasn't really changed in the last 25, 30 years. So we know where the development projects are. We know what the current zoning is. And yeah, there may be some upzoning that would go in that would increase the water demand, but we've also increased the water use efficiency. So each acre foot is actually going farther than it used to. You know, I think you can probably look out 50 years and know you're safe. You know, if I was John Zimmerman with Truckee Meadows Water Authority, I'd feel more comfortable if I could look out 75 years and know I had enough water. But for the foreseeable future, probably for the next 50 years, we're probably in good shape.
You know, that's an amazing time frame. Let's take another break, and we'll be right back with Don Pattalock after this timeout.
The Road to Riches leads straight to the Carson Valley Inn. Cash drawings Thursday and Saturdays. Over 480 winners. Score up to $15,000 weekly. Plus one $10,000 cash winner and the $20,000 guaranteed grand prize giveaways. Free meals, free play, and more. Only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org. 2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Don Pattalock. He is the president and CEO of Vidler Water. Tahoe Reno Industrial Center has just been such an incredible economic driver for Northern Nevada, diversification, all the things that any area could dream about. And people all over the country, if not the world, are looking at that development and saying, boy, if we could just do the same thing. Do they have enough water, in your opinion? And my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you have Carson River water rights. Do you have any thought of directing those towards TRI for further development, all these data centers, et cetera?
Specifically to our water on the Carson River and in that Dayton-Silver Springs corridor, we have conversations about the south end as you come out of the Tri-Center and into Northern Nevada Industrial Center and back into Silver Springs. It's going to take some infrastructure, and it's going to take some time, some planning, some coordination with Carson City, Lyon County Utilities, a couple of GIDs at Stagecoach and Silver Springs, but we can get water there. So we do entertain those discussions. Nothing's come to fruition as of yet, but we do stay on those conversations. As far as water, I think for the tri-centers, the regional deal that was cut to take the treated effluent out there, I think is a great lifeline for them.
Sure.
And they will ultimately get the utilization up of that water. And, I do think it was the future to their growth.
Well, and the whole idea of USA Parkway going from I-80 all the way over to 50 opened up so much development potential that would just be a great boom to Lyon County and beyond, that my fingers are crossed that that's able to occur in my lifetime. Hey, I thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I know that this is not only a rare appearance, it may be your only appearance, but I hope you'll come back and talk to us more because I have tons more questions.
Well, thank you, Sam.
All right, and we'll be right back.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Sponsors are needed for the Greenhouse Project's annual Grateful Harvest Dinner, taking place Monday, September 21st at Nashville Social Club in Carson City. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. For 17 years, the Greenhouse Project has provided agricultural education for students and fresh produce to our community's food insecure. Every dollar you give helps us continue this important, life-changing mission. Go to CarsonCityGreenhouse.org to learn how you can help. Join us in growing a lasting legacy.
Aaron Ford's high-flying travel has caught the attention of nonpartisan investigators on the Nevada Ethics Commission. Ethics officials are examining $35,000 in luxury trips taken by Ford, largely paid for by corporations his office regulates. The investigation also includes allegations Ford leveraged his position for personal gain, accepted gifts, and improperly used government resources. High-flying Aaron Ford. Luxury travel, special interest perks, too much baggage to be governor.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you on the next broadcast.